Hello class! For this week, we will be discussing quarter 4 module number 6, and after watching this recorded video, you need to answer the activities in this module for this week, okay? So the title of module number 6 is all about discovering literature as a tool to assert one's unique identity and to better understand other people. So last time under module number 5, this one, so we discussed about literary selections or literature as well for us to resolve conflict in a non-violent way. Okay, so that's the reason why last time under module number 5 we discussed briefly the meaning of short story. So when we say short story, it is shorter than a novel. So that's the reason why it is called short story. We have here elements of a short story. We have character as tauhan. So it can be a person or sometimes animal in a story. Setting can be the time and the place when and where the story happens. We also have the plot or the series of events in the story. So in where we follow the pyramid format. So it represents this one, it represents the beginning of the story, and in this part, in where the characters encounter problem in the story. This part, the peak one, is the most important part in the story, and this falling part is the part in where the character solves the problem one by one, and of course the ending part. Also, we have the so-called theme. So, theme can be the message of the story or the moral that you learn from the story. According to our module, it is the central idea or belief in a short story. Of course, the main topic is all about conflict. It is the struggle or the problem that the character encounters in the story. So, it can be man versus man conflict. So, a person versus a person. We also have man versus self or person versus himself or herself. And we also have man versus society. So, for today, we will be discussing literature for us to better understand the unique characteristic of a person and to better understand other people. So, we believe that even twins, they are different in terms of their attitude and their characteristics. Okay, so let us now go directly to what is it part. So under what is it part, so we have here the forms of literature. So remember class, when we say literature, okay, so to make it simple, it is book or writing published on a particular subject, or in other word, a body of written works. So we have here two forms of literature. So we have the first one, poetry, and the second one as prose. So when we say poetry, so in Tagalog, patula of course, so it adds artistic style to writing. So that's the reason why when you write a poem, so it is more on the artistic side. You express your feeling in an artistic way. So, poetry uses imagery and rhythm. So, when we say imagery, visual, descriptive, or sometimes figurative language, especially in literature, of course. When we say rhythm, so the best example of that are the rhyming words that we use in making poems. For example, I think that I shall never see a poem as lovely as a tree. So we have see and tree as rhyming words. So that is the the important characteristic of a poetry. It has rhythm. And also we have here examples of poetry. So we have poems, sonnets, and epics. On the other hand, when we say prose, it is everyday writing. So the paragraph that you are making, is an example of prose. Uh, the short story that we discussed last time is also an example of prose. We also have essays. So they are all under prose. Even news. Okay, they are all under prose because it is written made of sentences and paragraphs. So just like this one, our story under page 3. The title of the story is Do Words Matter by Erlinda G. Cruz. So this is the best example of prose. Okay? So we have here types of prose. We have non-fictional prose, and the other one is fictional prose. So when we say non-fictional prose, it is a literary work that is mainly based on fact. So it is based on truth or fact. Though it may contain fictional elements in certain cases, it includes biographies and essays. So if you write based on fact, or if you research first before writing that, so that is fiction, non-fiction. Okay, so just like biography or talambuhay and essays, they are all non-fictions because they are true, based on fact. Also, we have here fictional prose. So we have non-fiction and fiction. So when we say fiction or fictional prose, it is a literary work that is wholly or partly imagined or theoretical. So when we say fictional prose, it is just based on the imagination of the author. So the characters, the setting. So we have here the characters, the setting, the plot. Yeah. Okay. So the conflict, they are all imaginary. Just like the Snow White, the story Snow White, fairy tales. So we have here even the story Twilight, the novel Twilight, novel Harry Potter. They are all imaginary. Okay. So that's the reason why we have here examples of fictional prose. We have short story, novels, fairy tales, and others. Even fables, they are all fictional. So remember, non-fiction is based on fact or truth, just like biographies and essay. We also have here fictional prose. So it is based on the imagination or imaginary fact or imaginary setting, imaginary character. So based on the imagination of the author. So the example of this, we have short story, novels, fairy tales, and others. So next, again, we will be discussing the elements of short story. So I mentioned to you a while ago, when we say setting, it answers the question when and where. When and where the story happened. So it can also represent social and cultural conditions. Okay. And usually, the setting is found at the beginning of the story. This one. Also, we have here the so-called character. So, character can be a person or an animal who takes part in the story. So, character can be a protagonist or antagonist. So, when we say protagonist, it is the main character, the good guy in the story. So, it says the story focuses on him, while antagonist causes problem. So, he is the bad guy in the story, okay? So, when we say plot, just like what I said, it is the sequence of event. So, it consists of events that happened in the story, from the beginning, up to the middle, up to the end. Next, we have the so-called mood. Mood, it is how the story makes the reader feel. It creates an atmosphere of emotions that surround the character. For example, the story is horror. Of course, the mood should be scary. Okay. Next, theme. Theme is the controlling idea that the author wants the reader to understand at the end of the story. So it is almost the same with the moral of the story, the message that the author wants to give to the reader. Conflict, so we discussed this one. It can be the problem in the story. Okay. the series of problems that the character encounters in the story. So just like what we discussed last time, man versus man, man versus self, and man versus society. And number 7, we have the point of view. It is how the story is being told. It also determines who will be the narrator of the story. So it is divided into first person point of view, and we have third person point of view. So if it is first person point of view, the story uses pronoun I, me, myself, our. And if it is in the third person point of view, so it uses pronouns they, she, them, he. So if we will apply that in our story entitled Do Words Matter? So since it uses the pronoun we, I, okay, I again, are, so therefore it is in the first person point of view. Okay, so I hope everything is clear. If you have questions, or if you find a particular topic here which you do not understand, don't be shy to ask me. Okay, so thank you very much and good luck everyone.